Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Trump administration to carry out sweeping immigration review after the National Guard shooting to check residency status of immigrants from 19 countries. Putin hints at Russia-Ukraine breakthrough to Trump's peace plan, but questions Zelensky's leadership, while Kiev and US delegations to discuss formula this week. The death toll in Hong Kong's deadliest blaze in decades rises to at least 94. Scores still missing. Firefighting operation underway pro-border. 56th edition of IFFI all set to conclude in Goa with a gala ceremony. 9-day extravaganza witnessed masterpieces of cinematic work, technology and business. And Portugal scripts history after defeating Austria 1-0 in finals to win Maiden FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Qatar. US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that a National Guard member had died after being shot in an ambush by an Afghan national near the White House. The second soldier, he said, remains in critical condition.
I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible. As you know, the other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him. And the monster that did this is also in serious condition.
U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Janine Pirro, identified the two wounded guards as Sarah Beckstrom, 20, and Andrew Wolf, 24. She said they had been sworn in as National Guard members fewer than 24 hours before the shooting. Pirro said the suspect ambushed the two while they were patrolling near the White House. Armed with a powerful handgun, he shot one guardsman who fell and then shot again before firing multiple times at the second guardswoman. The FBI searched multiple properties in a widening probe, including a home in Washington state linked to the suspect identified as 29-year-old Rahmanullah Lakanwa. Investigators seized numerous electronic devices from the suspect's house in Washington state, including cell phones, laptops and iPads. Officials said Lakanwa was part of a CIA-backed unit in Afghanistan before coming to the US in 2021 under a resettlement program. And US President Donald Trump has ordered a widespread review of asylum cases approved under former President Joe Biden's administration and green cards issued to citizens of 19 countries, Department of Homeland Security officials said on Thursday. Trump had already called for the re-examination of all Afghan nationals who came to the US under his predecessor, saying that the US needed to take measures to ensure the removal of anyone who does not add benefit to our country. According to the memo signed by EDLO, that order would apply to about 233,000 refugees who entered between January 20th, 2021 and February 20th, 2025. All right, DD India's Akshay Dongre joins us for more on this story. Good morning, Akshay. What more do we know about the shooting incident near the White House? Guard member has passed away, the other in critical condition. Tell us also about the ongoing investigation.
Well, the investigation is going on a larger scale as far as who are the people who were brought in as far as these policies of Biden administration is concerned. First is that who are these people? Why have they come? What is the value that they are adding? And how many of them are illegal immigrants as well. That is one aspect of it. On the immigration side, as far as investigation, the shooting incident per se is concerned, the investigations have revealed that Lakanwal, the shooter, the Afghan shooter who shot killed the National Home Guard, was a soldier of Afghan army that was serving the CIA in Afghanistan, and he was in a unit that was called 01 that used to supply not only information but also security related operations to the US Army that was operating in Afghanistan. Now, as the US Army pulled out of Afghanistan, these were the people who were at the most risk, because they were aiding the US Army and they were at the risk of getting killed, getting persecuted by the Taliban regime that has come to power now, because these Afghans were aiding the enemy according to Taliban, and they surely would have been persecuted. Now also, as far as the investigation is concerned, it has revealed that these men, many of them have developed psychological disorders, which is perhaps the reason why Lakanwal also shot the National Guardsmen. And now it's not uncommon for people with psychological disorders to go on shooting spree. We have heard of multiple incidents of school shootings, multiple in which there have been students involved, multiple incidents of public shootings as well, because of Amendment one, people can bear arms, so you don't need a special licenses as you require in countries like India to procure arms, even for bigger weapons like assault rifles. People with access to so many guns, and in let's say somebody develops a psychological disorder, these kind of incidents are quite common in America, but the way this is being given an immigration color now is a big question, that how it is going to sustain, because as soon as Trump came to power, he started calling the attacker an animal and other things. But now the investigation is revealing that it was not a terrorism incident, it was not a hate crime, it was a crime done by a man who has served the US forces in Afghanistan against Taliban then, and was rescued along with his family to come to US to avoid him facing persecution, and is now facing psychological disorders, so which is very common in these kind of soldiers. Back to you, Akshay.
Akshay, presidency status of immigrants from 19 countries will be checked. President Trump has ordered a widespread review. Akshay, what exactly does this review ordered by President Trump cover, and how extensive is it?
Well, first of all, it seems misplaced, Abhishek, because this is not a crime that has been done. That is a crime done by illegal immigrant or just a normal immigrant. It is a crime done by a former, in a way, soldier of the US forces only. And many of these soldiers for working and aiding foreign armies against their own people many a times develop severe psychological disorders, because there are war crimes, and when these soldiers find out that there are war crimes committed against those very armies that they are aiding, they develop depression, they develop anxiety disorder, they develop PTSD and other kind of disorders. So this kind of widespread the investigation that has been launched into aliens and immigrants, it is misplaced first. But nonetheless, it is happening. As you rightly mentioned, 19 countries are under review, and these are the countries similar as Afghanistan. So we have to see that how this is going to be linked to the incident that has taken place, because clearly the two incidents are not the same. The two topics are not the same. It's not about illegal immigration. It's about an immigration of a man who was serving the US forces against his own people at a point in time. in a sense that he was aiding the U.S. armed forces there, and that is why he was rescued. And it was not an act of charity, or even an act of him being allowed to come in. Thousands of Afghans who were aiding the U.S. forces were brought in to save their lives. And rather the government should look into providing enough psychological relief to these people, help to these people, to ensure that these incidents don't happen again.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Russian President Vladimir Putin has shown optimism to the outline draft peace proposals discussed by the United States and Ukraine could become the basis of future agreements to end the conflict in Ukraine, but that, if not Russia, would fight on. US President Donald Trump has long said he wants to end the conflict in Ukraine, but his efforts so far, including a summit with President Vladimir Putin in Alaska in August, have not brought peace. Speaking in Bishkek after a summit with the leaders of a grouping of former Soviet republics, Putin said that the discussions so far were not about a draft agreement of any kind, but about sets of issues. He said that in Geneva, the US and Ukraine had decided to divide up the 28 points into 4 separate components and that a copy had been transmitted to Moscow. Putin said that some things still needed to be discussed. If Europe wanted a pledge not to attack it, then Russia was willing to give such a formal pledge. Russian forces control more than 19% of Ukraine. He noted that it should cease the fighting, but needed Kiev's forces to pull back before it could do so. Putin said he considered the Ukrainian leadership to be illegitimate, and so it was legally impossible to sign a deal with Kiev. He said the Kiev leadership lost legitimacy after refusing to hold elections when President Volodymyr Zelensky's elected term expired. Kiev says it cannot hold elections while under martial law and defending its territory against Russia. Now, Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff plans to visit Moscow early next week. Putin said US sanctions on Russian oil companies were unexpected. Commenting on the leak of a recording of a call between top advisors to Trump and Putin, the Kremlin chief rejected the suggestion that Witkoff had shown himself to be biased towards Moscow in peace talks over Ukraine, describing it as nonsense. While Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy also confirmed that delegations from Kiev and Washington are to meet this week to work out a formula discussed at talks in Geneva to bring peace and provide security guarantees for Kiev.
Our team, together with American representatives this week, yet at the end of it, will continue to push forward the points that we worked out as a result of talks in Geneva to shape them so that we can reach the path to peace and security guarantees. Our delegation will meet. The US delegation will be well prepared and ready to engage in hands-on work.
Now, Volodymyr Zelenskyy met Latvian Foreign Minister in Kiev on Thursday, thanking Latvia for joining a US-backed program that allows Kiev to buy Patriot missiles and other air defense systems. Braze said Latvia stands by Ukraine and told Zelenskyy that he was not alone, adding that Ukraine was strong, democratic and had a very bright future.
Thankful with the program Pearl, which gives us possibility to buy missiles for Patriots and other air defense systems through this program from the United States of America. Thank you that your country joined it. Best regards to President, and all the best to your Prime Minister. We are very thankful that we have such big friends on this very not simple way. I think you understand the nature of this threat and these attacks and this war. So, welcome, Minister.
Now, Russia hands life sentences to 8 men over the Crimean bridge blast and further hardens its stance on Ukraine's NATO aspirations, even as Kiev prepares for fresh peace talks with Washington. More in this report.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the fighting would stop if Ukrainian troops withdrew from key areas, warning that Russia would otherwise seize its objectives by force. This comes after Russia reiterated that Ukraine's potential membership of NATO remains unacceptable to Moscow, calling the alliance's eastward expansion a direct security threat. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that NATO's continued attempts to pull Ukraine into its structure was one of the core reasons behind the current conflict.
NATO's attempt to drag Ukraine into its orbit still poses a threat to us. Ukraine's membership of this aggressive military alliance, which declared Russia its target, naming it a threat for security in all operational environment, is unacceptable for us. I repeat once again, because the essence of NATO's activity is the counteraction to our country.
Moscow's stance comes as Western and Ukrainian negotiators prepare for a fresh round of talks with focus on specific steps within a peace proposal currently under discussion. Ukraine's foreign minister, Andriy Sybiha, confirmed that US and Ukrainian teams will meet soon, where Ukraine expects concrete outcomes that could help advance efforts towards a ceasefire.
Найближчим часом слід очікувати.
In the nearest future, it should be expected that the negotiation teams will meet. What are we expecting? Our expectation are concrete results so that progress can be made. It is extremely important for us, and Ukraine has demonstrated this repeatedly to achieve a truce.
On Thursday, a Russian military court sentenced 8 men to life imprisonment over the 2022 explosions that severely damaged the Crimean Bridge and killed 5 people. Kyiv later acknowledged responsibility, calling the attack a strategic strike aimed at disrupting Russian military logistics in occupied Crimea. As diplomatic maneuvering gathers pace, both sides remain locked in a tense standoff where the path to peace appears more intertwined with long-standing political red lines than ever.
And amid growing concern over the well-being of jailed former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Mohammad Sohail Khan Afridi visited Adiala jail on Thursday to inquire about his health. Mohammad Sohail Khan Afridi's visit comes after Khan's party has demanded an urgent meeting with him, saying he has been denied access to his family and lawyers for more than 3 weeks. Imran Khan's family members and supporters have been staging protests outside the Rawalpindi prison, calling for authorities to allow them to see him. Meanwhile, reports quoting an unnamed jail official claim the former premier is in good health and that there are no plans to shift him to another facility. Imran Khan has been in jail since August 2023, serving a 14-year sentence on corruption charges, one of the several cases he insists were fabricated to push him out of politics. Time now for a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. 7 killed in Tahiti after landslide buries 2 homes. The deep depression of Sri Lanka's eastern coast intensifies into cyclonic storm Ditwa. And London gets a sugar-coated makeover at Gingerbread City 2025.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geo.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Hong Kong authorities on Friday stated that the death toll from the city's worst fire in decades killed at least 94. The authorities said rescuers are close to finishing their work, the fire nearly out and teams searching the burned high-rise buildings for the many people still missing. Early Friday, officials reported the fire was contained to 4 of nearly 2,000 units in the 8-building complex more than a day after it began. At least 76 people were injured, including 11 firefighters. Hong Kong's anti-corruption body said it had launched a probe into renovation work at the complex hours after police said they had arrested 3 men on suspicion of negligently leaving foam packaging at the fire site.
Firefighting operation is almost complete. Despite that, we are still carrying out firefighting operation to 4 individual units, and damping down to various units of the 7 blocks are still in progress, so as to prevent the debris and embers from flaring up. What's next is the search and rescue operation. We will conduct search and operation to the remaining 25 assistant corps, and at the same time, we will endeavor to effect forcible entry to all the units of the 7 blocks concerned, so as to ensure that there are no other possible casualties.
In France, the French Overseas Department on Thursday stated that a landslide in the French Polynesia island of Tahiti left 7 people dead. In a social media post, French President Emmanuel Macron said France fully supports the families affected by the IFFI tragedy and noted that people remain missing. Homes were swept away and a rescue operation was underway to search for the missing. A video showed several diggers arriving at the scene of the landslide to dig up the mass of soil. French Daily reported that rescue efforts were halted for hours after a second landslide almost swept away rescuers, but operations have since resumed. Shifting focus now, the deep depression of Sri Lanka's eastern coast has intensified into cyclonic storm Ditwa, located about 120 kilometers southeast of Bati Kaloa and moving north-northwest. Authorities are expecting further strengthening, bringing rainfall above 200 mm in several districts. School examinations have been suspended nationwide, with warnings that severe weather will persist in the coming days. The island had been under considerable impact due to the storm over the last few days, with the eastern coast and the central regions being impacted the most. Sri Lankan authorities say at least 40 people have been killed and 10 injured as floods and landslides continue to batter the island, with 21 others still missing. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake had instructed MPs from both government and opposition to immediately return to their districts to coordinate relief, ensure delivery of health and welfare services and assess compensation needs. Further, the Parliament has suspended its budget debate to facilitate the response. All right, we'll go across to Colombo now. DD India's Dr. Ahmed Muin Faruqi joins us to talk more on this. Good morning, Dr. Faruqi. Give us a sense of what you are seeing on the ground right now. How severe are the conditions as Cyclone Ditwa strengthens?
Yes, you see, the thing is that the cyclone has been progressing northwestwards ever since it has intensified as a cyclone yesterday. It is moving gradually towards the Indian coast. As of now, it stays somewhere just south to Trincomalee. The impact of it has been felt across the island, with a major impact being seen on central region as well as the eastern provinces, where we have seen a rainfall of over 500 millimeters over the last 24 hours at several places, including in Gampola, including at Matale, as well as places in Nuwara. There have been inundations in almost most parts of the island, with more than 44,000 people impacted, belonging to more than 12,000 families. The disaster management authorities have today morning, they have confirmed that the death toll has risen to 56, with 21 people still remaining missing. And the relief and rescue efforts are continuously going on. While this is happening, the visibility for aircrafts has been very low. So the the civil aviation authorities have directed that the flights need to be diverted if the visibility continues to remain bad. At the same time, since today morning 6 o'clock, the railway authorities have suspended all train operations across the island till further notice. That said, the government has instructed all the members of the parliament to be in their respective places and help coordinate relief and rescue efforts, while at the same time they have suspended all non-essential government activities. They have suspended all schools. They have put on hold the A-level exams that have been happening. So, in fact, day before yesterday, the exams had been postponed for 2 days, so that yesterday and today also they will be suspended, and further call will be taken by Monday. So that is the current situation as of now. But that said, the situation is pretty grim in various parts of the island. Even in Colombo, we are seeing continuously the rain battering the capital over the last 2 days. In fact, even now there is rain ongoing as of now as I stand here.
Dr. Farooqi, also we have been hearing about rising water levels and continuing landslides. Was the forecast like for the next 24 to 48 hours? And how are people preparing given the possibility of the cyclone strengthening further?
Yes, you see, the NBRO had already issued landslide warnings over the last 2 days. In fact, 3 days. It had already started from Tuesday itself. So there have been several landslides that were reported. In fact, Colombo-Kandy Road has already been temporarily blocked. There are several landslides that have been reported in Badulla district, and several deaths have been reported because of that. There are alerts which have been raised with regard to the rising water levels in several rivers as well as reservoirs. In fact, Kelani River, which is very close to Colombo, that has also crossed the the danger mark. A red alert has been sounded for those who are living close to the river's basin. That said, people have been advised to not venture out unnecessarily. They have been advised to remain in safe places. In fact, in many places, people are stuck because of the flood situation, and people have been advised to take shelter wherever they can find safe, locations. At the same time, people have also been given sufficient protections by shifting them to safe shelter homes, where the levels of the water are being expected to impact the houses already. In fact, several houses have already been destroyed, and the authorities have taken note of this, and they have shifted people, they have rescued them, and kept them in safer locations as of now.
All right, Dr. Farooqi, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs. Moving on, US President Donald Trump on Thursday said the United States will soon expand efforts to curb Venezuelan drug trafficking by intensifying operations on land. Speaking to service members in Palm Beach, Trump said US forces had almost stopped maritime trafficking, claiming an 85% reduction, and warned Venezuelan groups against continuing to send poison into the country.
All of you are backbone of America, and you really are the backbone of America's air power. And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, if you probably noticed that, from sending their poisons into the United States, where they kill hundreds of thousands of people a year. But we're going to take care of that situation. We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country.
And Trump's remarks came hours after Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro declared that his country was prepared to defend itself against any foreign threat.
Today, we say that in Venezuela, there is no threat or aggression that frightens our people or take us by surprise. Our people have prepared themselves with imperturbable serenity to defend their homeland, their soil, their seas, their sky, their soul, and their history by Bolivar at the forefront.
Tensions between Washington and Caracas have escalated in recent months amid increased U.S. operations in the Caribbean targeting alleged drug trafficking vessels. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of involvement with criminal networks, allegations the Venezuelan leader rejects. And the United States forces have been increasing deployments in the Caribbean for months as tensions with Venezuela escalate. The cruise missile destroyer USS gravely docked on Thursday alongside a Navy support vessel in Ponce, Puerto Rico. U.S. has stepped up its military posture near Venezuela amid worsening relations with President Nicolas Maduro's government and reports of possible operations that have not been confirmed or publicly authorized by President Donald Trump. Moving on, Guinea-Bissau's President Umaro Sissoko Embalo has arrived in Senegal after being detained during a military coup, Senegal's government confirmed on Thursday. According to Senegalese authorities, he landed safe and sound aboard a military aircraft chartered by their government. The takeover unfolded just a day before authorities were scheduled to release provisional results from both the presidential and parliamentary elections. On Thursday, the military appointed Army Chief of Staff General Orta Ntam as the new leader for a one-year transitional period. He was sworn in at military headquarters, stating he had taken the oath to head the High Command.
I have just been sworn in as President of High Military Command for the restoration of national security and public order, generated by the events of November 26. This new military entity immediately assumed itself as the highest authority of state power in Guinea-Bissau. Its mandate will only last for 1 year.
In Guinea-Bissau's capital, the city centre appeared unusually quiet on Thursday morning, with most shops closed and only light traffic following the military's removal of the civilian government. Although vehicles gradually returned to the streets, banks and businesses remained shut as residents waited to see how the new rulers would proceed. The African Union condemned the takeover, the 9th in West and Central Africa in 5 years, and called for release of electoral workers and other detained officials. Meanwhile, Guinea-Bissau's military leaders announced that national borders had been reopened a day after the coup disrupted the country's general election process. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. In Kenya, a court decision is being seen as a big win for farmers that will allow them to save and share their own traditional seeds without fear of fines or jail. Supporters say this will protect local seeds, reduce farmers' dependence on big seed companies, and help keep Kenya's food tradition and farming system to grow stronger in the future. In London, this year's Gingerbread City exhibition is all about fun and creativity. The show features 50 architect-designed gingerbread buildings representing London, including sweet versions of Big Ben and the Houses of Commons. Organizers say the theme is the play, putting imagination at the center of city life in London. Still to come on this edition of DD India NewsHour. Prime Minister Modi is set to visit the historic Sri Krishna Mutt in Udupi today. India's diplomacy, economic resilience and defence forces strength get highlighted at Chanakya Defence Dialogue 2025. And India and Indonesia work on deepening defence ties at the 3rd Defence Ministers Dialogue held in New Delhi. Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of our top stories. Trump administration to carry out sweeping immigration review after the National Guard shooting to check residency status of immigrants from 19 countries. Putin hints at Russia-Ukraine breakthrough through Trump's peace plan, but questions Zelensky's leadership, while Kiev and US delegations to discuss formula this week. The death toll in Hong Kong's deadliest blaze in decades rises to at least 94, scores still missing, firefighting operation underway, pro-bordered. The 56th edition of IFFI all set to conclude in Goa with a gala ceremony. 9-day extravaganza witnessed masterpieces of cinematic work, technology and business. And Portugal scripts history after defeating Austria 1-0 in the finals to win Maiden FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Qatar. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit the historic Sri Krishna Mutt in Udupi today. Let's take a look at the preparations.
The city is alive with excitement as large crowds are ready to welcome the Prime Minister in Udupi, Karnataka. Prime Minister will hold a roadshow, and along the route, 3 cultural stages have been arranged. Prime Minister will take part in several religious rituals at Sri Krishna Mutt, including the Lakshakanta Gita Prayan ceremony. He will also inaugurate the Suvan Tirath Mandap and unveil the Kanak Kavach, the golden cover of the sacred Kankana Kindi. Later, the Prime Minister will address a gathering of thousands. To ensure a foolproof security. Over 3,000 police personnel have been deployed, and a mock drill was carried out yesterday to review the preparedness. The anticipation surrounding Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit has sparked widespread enthusiasm among the public.
In New Delhi, the 2-day Raksha Mantri Chanakya Defence Dialogue 2025 began at the Manekshaw Centre in New Delhi on Thursday with top military and strategic leaders in attendance. Organised by Indian Army in collaboration with the Centre for Land Warfare Studies, the dialogue centres on the national vision of Sashakt, Surakshit and Viksit Bharat. It examines India's security challenges and technological frontiers in an increasingly contested global landscape. The 3rd edition of Indian Army's Defence Conclave was inaugurated by President Draupadi Murmu. Addressing the conflict, President said India's diplomacy, economic strength and armed forces together reflect a nation committed to peace while staying fully prepared to defend its borders and citizens throughout the dialogue. Key participants included senior military leaders, policymakers, global experts, industry leaders and young scholars. Now, India and Indonesia have taken another major step in strengthening their defence partnership. The two nations came together in New Delhi for the 3rd Defence Ministers' Dialogue, co-chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Indonesian counterpart. The dialogue showcased the depth of trust and shared vision between the two countries. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay reports.
The 3rd India-Indonesia Defence Ministers' Dialogue was held in New Delhi on Thursday. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh co-chaired the event alongside Indonesia's Defence Minister Safri Samsudin, reaffirming the long-standing strategic partnership and deepening bilateral defence cooperation. The ministers recalled the visit of Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto to India earlier this year as the chief guest at the Republic Day celebrations 2025. They highlighted the wide-ranging discussions between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Subianto, which further strengthened the comprehensive strategic partnership. Speaking at the meeting, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said that the recent signing of the enhanced agreement on defence cooperation between India and Indonesia has strengthened both nations' commitment to augment defence collaboration.
Through the decades, our defence ties have flourished, built on the foundation of the mutual commitment to regional security. Today's dialogue serves as a testament to the growing strength of our defence cooperation, which is an important pillar of our cooperation.
Meanwhile, Indonesia's defence minister emphasized that the dialogue carries forward the strong momentum built since India's defence minister's visit to Indonesia in 2018.
I am confident that our dialogue today will produce concrete outcomes that strengthen trust and advance the strategic partnership between our two defence establishments.
India and Indonesia reaffirmed their shared vision for a free, open and peaceful Indo-Pacific, pledging stronger cooperation in maritime security and cyber resilience. The dialogue also advanced defence industry collaboration with a proposal to set up a joint defence industry committee focusing on research, technology transfer and supply chain integration. Military-to-military ties continue to grow with expanded joint exercises such as Super Garuda Shield, Garuda Shakti, Samudra Shakti and Milan alongside officer exchanges and training programs. Both nations emphasized enhanced coordination in the Indian Ocean and support for ASEAN-led frameworks to strengthen regional security. India's submarine expertise and defense medicine capabilities will be shared with Indonesia, boosting technological and health resilience. India and Indonesia today stand as pillars of regional stability, bound by trust and shared vision. Their growing defense partnership not only strengthens bilateral ties but also reinforces peace, security, and prosperity across the Indo-Pacific region. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will address National Conference on Safe Tea Production in New Delhi on Friday. The conference focuses on ensuring the safety, compliance and sustainability of India's tea production by addressing issues like pesticide use and improving regulatory frameworks for small tea growers. The conference will also bring together regulators, industry stakeholders and experts to create strategies for a safer and more competitive Indian tea industry. In New Delhi, the vision for Prasar Bharati Summit 2025 is set to be inaugurated by Union Jal Shakti Minister C.R. Patil. The two-day summit, organized by the Ministry of Jal Shakti under Niti Aayog's thematic program, focuses on India's long-term water sustainability goals. The initiative follows 6 national consultations held earlier this year covering issues like river rejuvenation, grey water reuse and efficient water technology. With over 2,800 participants contributing to policy discussions, the summit will bring together central and state officials, experts, panchayat representatives and awardees to build a collaborative roadmap for a water-secure and sustainable Bharat. The 56th edition of the International Film Festival of India is all set for its closing ceremony, which will be held today in Goa. The ceremony will be attended by the Minister of State L. Murugan, Secretary Sanjay Jaju, along with other dignitaries. The 9-day cinematic extravaganza offered an array of entertainment, while at the same time created awareness and educated the visitors. The platform also became a perfect example of how technology and creativity both can be used to deliver a world-class project. On the last day, a few of the films will be premiered with expected red carpet lineups. After that, the closing ceremony will take place at Goa's Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Stadium. All right, we'll go across to Goa now. DD India's Deepika Mehto joins us for more. Good morning, Deepika. The closing ceremony promises to be a star-studded affair attended by national and international media as well as prominent figures from the film industry. Tell us how is the atmosphere and mood ahead of the closing ceremony?
Good morning, Abhishek. Today is the last day of the 56th edition of International Film Festival of India. The day will be a night of awards because there will be several awards which will be given away today, straight from the Golden Peacock Award to the Silver Peacock Award. We would also be having the awardee for the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award. All these awards will be given out, will be handed out by the State Minister along with the Secretary and the Festival Director Shekhar Kapoor. And apart from that, we have the premiere of the closing film as well today, which is Tere Ishq Mein. For that, Preeti Senon and Dhanush are expected to walk the red carpet and grace the closing ceremony too. We are expecting big names to participate in closing ceremony, including the breathtaking singer Achyuta Gopi, who is going to perform at the closing ceremony. Apart from that, the star cast of Dhurandhar is also expected to perform at the closing ceremony. Now, apart from that, we've seen that how the 9-day extravaganza panned out in a very beautiful way, awarding, rewarding, and expressing the need to co-collaborate and increase the creative and technological aspect with having an expanded forum shared and divided with the global concerned departments. And the visuals that you are right now showing on your screen is from the Film Bazaar that offered a unique experience to all the filmmakers and industry stakeholders. So now, as we come closer towards the closing ceremony of the 56th edition, we will have the name of the awardees as well by today evening. Abhishek.
All right, Deepika, thank you for the time being, but yes, we'll keep taking updates from you. And from Cannes to Busan, the President's Cake won many international accolades. The globally acclaimed film got premiered at the 56th edition of IFFI 2. DD India's Deepika got in an exclusive conversation with the editor of the film, who talked about the challenges and rewards the film offered. Take a listen.
And we are now joined by the editor of The President's Cake, Mr. Alexandru Radu. Now, The President's Cake, the film, has been awarded twice at the Cannes Film Festival. It won accolades at the PIF Busan International Film Festival. It's premiering at the 56th edition of International Film Festival, and at the same time it is getting premiered at 4 different editions of film festivals across the world. First of all, many congratulations to you on the super success of this film.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about this film. What was the idea, the motivation behind such a storyline?
Basically, it's a story from Iraq. Part of it is a story from Hassan's childhood with his grandma, with a little bit of the places where he lived. And it's a film about how the dictatorship in one country and also the sanctions by other countries actually affect the people's life, not the things that were supposed to affect, like the removing the dictator or removing the political regime. So it's about how these things affect the people, the normal people, let's call them, life.
Politics and showcasing harmony. They are 2 different topics, and that 2 very hard topics. But you've shown that very beautifully through the eyes of a young girl. How difficult was the entire shooting period, and especially shooting with such a young girl, but still she looks so strong on the screen?
It was tough. It was really tough. Especially because of many locations moving around and kids being only 9, both of them. Both of them are non-actors. They never had acting training. They barely saw movies, and it was part luck, part Hassan's, the director's intuition on having her. She was really great. I was actually impressed in the scene where she is being. I'm giving some spoilers now. Where she is being told that she will be adopted. She's crying when she's speaking, when grandma says that she will be adopted, she's crying. She cried at the same time in every take, and I was impressed. I mean, lots of professional actors, like adult actors, cannot do that. Cry at the same time in the same take was amazing for me.
How did you make that possible? Because, this is such a important, so this is such an important topic. It's a very hard topic as well, because children who are adopted, they go through a lot, and there's a mental trauma associated with it, and even when they move on to their adult age, there are reflections of it. You caught the nerve right at the beginning itself, and this is very beautifully shown in the picture itself. How did you make it possible?
It was the way Hassan worked with the kids before the shoot. Like, he befriended them and told them the story, played games with them, and they trusted him, and it was actually nothing less of a miracle, because usually kids like skip, look in the camera, get bored. They were not. They were like so professional. It's incredible.
All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Radu, for joining us and talking to us. It's a pleasure to host you in India and to have you on DD India.
Thank you too. It's been an amazing time. Thank you.
All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. European stock markets edge higher as investor confidence in a Federal Reserve rate cut next month kept sentiment high. And Sumit Nagal bows out of Australian Open Asia Pacific Wildcard Playoff Tournament. And India edged New Zealand 3-2 in a fiercely contested Sultan Azlan Shah Cup clash in Malaysia.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Business updates now. Stocks in Europe edged up on Thursday, while the dollar held steady as investor confidence in the Federal Reserve rate cut next month kept sentiment upbeat, which also helped keep Bitcoin above its recent lows. A holiday-shortened week has limited some of the activity across markets. Stocks have kept a largely upbeat tone, and currencies are much more sedate as investors shrug off AI bubble worries that had roiled equities earlier in November. With US markets closed for the Thanksgiving holiday, activity was more muted than usual across the major asset classes. The dollar, meanwhile, held steady against the basket of currencies. Sterling retreated from near 4-week highs hit on Wednesday after British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves's budget helped alleviate some concern about Britain's long-term finances. In New Delhi, IFFI is hosting its 98th annual general meeting and annual convention at Bharat Mandapam on 28th and 29th November 2025. The convention will be addressed by Tourism and Culture Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. This year's event focuses on building a secure, resilient and sustainable Indian economy while strengthening the country's self-reliant growth vision. The program includes keynote sessions and panel discussions featuring ministers, secretaries, global leaders, business heads and experts from across sectors. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with football. Portugal etched its name into the history books after defeating Austria 1-0 in the final to win its maiden FIFA Under-17 World Cup title in Qatar. Portugal beat Austria 1-0 in the final at Khalifa International Stadium in Qatar on Thursday. Anicio Cabral, who narrowly stayed onside, scored the only goal of the match in 32nd minute after a precise cutback from Duarte Cunha. Remarkably, Portugal had not qualified for the previous 9 editions of the tournament since 2003. On the return, they overcame Belgium, Mexico, Switzerland and Brazil in the knockout stages to reach the finals. Portugal's golden run in Under-17 football continues with the World Cup triumph following their Under-17 European Championship victory earlier this summer, completing a remarkable double. And highly awaited Women's Premier League WPL 2026 mega auction kicked off on Thursday in New Delhi. The auction for the 4th edition of WPL saw 67 players picked up as teams reshaped their squads for the upcoming season. Deepti Sharma emerged as the biggest headline, with UP Warriors using the right to match card to secure her for Rs 3.2 crore, and Shikha Pandey and Emilia Kerr were among the top buys, while major international stars like Elisa Hele, Alana King, Heather Knight and Chamari Atapattu went unsold. Teams collectively spent Rs 40.8 crore, with UP Warriors topping the spending charts at Rs 14.15 crore. And hockey now. India clinched a hard-fought 3-2 win over New Zealand in its 4th match of the Sultanas Lanka Cup 2025 in Malaysia on Thursday. Amit Rohidas opened the scoring early from a penalty corner before captain Sanjay doubled the lead in the 3rd quarter. New Zealand fought back through Josh Baker, who struck twice to level the match at 2-2. India responded quickly, with Selvam Karte finishing a sharp move to restore the lead. Despite missing a late penalty stroke, India held firm in the final minutes. The team now faces Canada in its final group match on Saturday. And India's top singles player Sumit Nagal bowed out of the Australian Open Asia Pacific wildcard playoff tournament. Sumit Nagal lost to top seed Yun Chuakete of China in the quarterfinals on Thursday. Nagal, seeded 6th, went down 2-6, 2-6 in straight sets. The event, held from November 24 to 29 at the Sichuan International Tennis Center in Chengdu, offers the winners a wildcard entry into 2026 Australian Open main draw. Nagal's participation had faced uncertainty earlier when his initial visa application to enter China was rejected, prompting him to publicly appeal to the Chinese authorities. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.